What if I told you that some of the most legendary places in human history might not be myths at all? Lost cities, hidden kingdoms, entire civilizations that disappeared without a trace. Some were searched for by explorers, some were written about in ancient texts, and some people still believe exist today. Not in the past, but somewhere out there, right now. Today we're looking at 5 lost cities that are still believed to have existed. Let's go. 1. Shambhala, the kingdom in the Himalayas. Somewhere in the Himalayas, above the clouds, beyond the reach of maps, there is said to be a kingdom called Shambhala. Not a ruined city, not a sunken empire, a living paradise. A place where enlightened beings have existed for thousands of years, untouched by war, disease, or the decay of time. Ancient Tibetan Buddhist texts describe it in extraordinary detail. A hidden valley shaped like an 8-petaled lotus flower, surrounded by snow-capped mountains that make it invisible to those who aren't ready to find it. The people there are said to have solved what we're still struggling with: suffering, ignorance, the limits of the human mind. But here's the part that separates Shambhala from most legends. It might not exist in a physical location at all. Some traditions say Shambhala exists in another dimension, a realm that overlaps our own but can only be accessed by those who have reached a certain level of spirituality. Purity. The path isn't on any map, it's inside you. And if your mind isn't ready, you could walk straight through it and never know. In the 20th century, the Russian artist and mystic Nicholas Roerich spent years trekking through Central Asia, specifically searching for Shambhala. He claims to have received signs, mysterious lights, strange encounters. He never found it. Or at least, he never said he did. 2. El Dorado, the City of Gold. In the 16th century, a story swept through the courts of Europe like wildfire. Somewhere in South America, deep in the jungle, there was a king so wealthy he covered his entire body in gold dust every single morning and washed it off every night. The Spanish called him El Dorado, the Gilded Man. But the legend didn't stop at one man. It grew. The gold dust became a golden city. The city became an empire. And within decades, some of the most ruthless men in the world were hacking through the Amazon, through heat, disease, starvation, hostile tribes, chasing a city they had never seen. Francisco de Orellana, Gonzalo Pizarro, Sir Walter Raleigh. These weren't fools. These were conquerors, and they died searching for El Dorado. What's fascinating is where the legend came from. The Muisca people of present-day Colombia really did have a ritual. Their chief was coated in gold and paddled out onto a sacred lake, Lake Guatavita, where he threw gold and emeralds into the water as offerings to the gods. The Spanish saw this and imagined an entire city. But here's the twist the history books don't always mention. In 2010, satellite imagery and aerial surveys revealed something extraordinary in the Amazon. Traces of massive geometric earthworks, plazas, roads, and settlements hidden beneath the jungle canopy. Archaeologists now believe millions of people once lived in a highly organized civilization deep in the Amazon. They didn't find streets of gold, but they found something almost as remarkable: proof that the jungle was hiding an advanced world we knew nothing about. El Dorado may not be one city. It may be the memory of an entire civilization. 3. Zerzura, the oasis of the Sahara. Most lost cities come from oral legends or religious texts. Zerzura comes from something more unsettling: a medieval Arabic manuscript called The Book of Hidden Pearls, a guide to finding buried treasures across Egypt and North Africa. It describes a white city, like a dove, sleeping in the heart of the Sahara. The gates are carved with a bird. A king and queen sleep inside, frozen in an enchanted slumber. The city is guarded by black giants. Its streets are filled with treasure that hasn't been touched in centuries. Ancient, mythological, clearly fiction. Except explorers kept finding clues. In the 1800s and early 1900s, Bedouin traders reported stumbling upon a lush, green oasis deep in the Libyan desert, somewhere no European had mapped. Date palms, fresh water, stone ruins. They called it Zerzura. And then they couldn't find it again. In the 1930s, a group of adventurers, using early aircraft, which was essentially science fiction for desert exploration at the time, searched the Great Sand Sea between Egypt and Libya. They found something. Hidden wadis, previously unknown valleys with ancient rock art and signs of habitation. But no white city. What makes Zerzura so compelling is how the Sahara works against us. The desert was once green. 10,000 years ago, there were lakes and rivers where there is now nothing but sand. Entire civilizations could be buried under dunes that move and shift every decade. Zerzura might be real. It might be ruins, or it might be still out there. White walls, carved bird, sleeping king, waiting for the sand to move just enough. 4. Thule, the frozen land beyond the north. In 330 BC, a Greek explorer named Pytheas sailed north, further north than any Greek had gone. He came back with stories of a land he called Thule, a place 6 days beyond Britain where the sun barely set, the sea turned to something thick and jelly-like, and the world itself seemed to end. Thule became a fixation for the ancient world. It was described as the northernmost point of the known Earth, a boundary between civilization and something else entirely. Some placed it in Iceland, some in Norway, some said it didn't exist on Earth at all. Fast forward to the 20th century, and Thule got a dark new chapter. The Nazis were obsessed with it. Within the SS, there was a secret society called the Thule Society, which believed the original Aryan master race had descended from a supernatural civilization in the far north. They weren't just searching for a geographic location. They believed Thule was a portal, a gateway to ancient gods, alien intelligence, or a master race that predated humanity as we know it. Heinrich Himmler commissioned expeditions to Iceland, Tibet, and Antarctica, seriously, looking for evidence of this primordial civilization. This is where mythology becomes dangerous. When lost city legends get weaponized by ideology, they stop being stories and start being justifications. Today, Ultima Thule, which NASA even briefly used to name a distant space object, remains a symbol of the edge of the known world. That place just beyond the map where something stranger and older might be waiting. 5. Atlantis, the sunken superpower. And then there's the one everyone knows, the one that started it all. In 360 BC, the philosopher Plato wrote about a civilization that had existed 9,000 years before his time. He wasn't vague about it. He gave dates, geography, politics, military power. He said Atlantis was a naval empire larger than Libya and Asia combined, located in the Atlantic Ocean, beyond the Pillars of Hercules, which we now call the Strait of Gibraltar. And then, in a single day and night of catastrophic floods and earthquakes, it sank beneath the sea. Gone. Scholars have debated for 2,000 years whether Plato made it up as a philosophical allegory or whether he was describing something real. Here's what makes the debate so hard to close. We know civilizations have been swallowed by the sea. The ancient city of Pavlopetri off the coast of Greece is over 5,000 years old and sits completely underwater. Dwarka, a sacred city in India, was found submerged in the Gulf of Khambat. Rising sea levels at the end of the last ice age flooded enormous stretches of coastline, land where millions of people lived. Something catastrophic did happen. The question is whether Atlantis was Plato's memory of it. In 2011, a research team using satellite imaging found what they described as a buried city in the mudflats of southern Spain, with circular and rectangular formations matching Plato's description almost exactly. They called it a strong candidate. The mainstream archaeological community remains skeptical. And maybe that's exactly where Atlantis was always meant to live. Just close enough to true that you can never quite let it go. 5 cities, 5 civilizations, all gone, or hidden, or waiting. What's interesting isn't just that these places might exist, it's that every culture in every era feels the need to believe they do. That somewhere beyond the map, beyond the desert, beneath the ocean, there is proof that humanity was once more than it is now. Maybe that's the real reason we keep searching.